Most professionals don't realize that their presentations are exposing them as not ready for senior positions. Not because they're messy or unpolished, but because they send the wrong signals to senior leaders. As a senior professional who spent years presenting to C-suite executives and guiding multi-million-dollar decisions, I learned fast that in the boardroom, every sentence tells the audience whether you're there to lead or you're there to support. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how executives actually expect information to be communicated so you can deliver real value and stop wasting time over explaining how this is going to unlock more senior opportunities for you at work, and I'll show you how to save loads of time doing it too. And I'll start with a single mistake that even capable professionals make that instantly marks them as not ready for leadership. When you communicate with executives, it's not just about the work. Your credibility and future advancement is also what's being judged. So naturally, you try to be thorough and credible. You don't want to be exposed as someone who isn't ready for senior positions. And that's how most professionals end up building slides that look like this. Now, if you can't immediately tell the 6 specific things that are wrong with this slide, then you're signaling something to leadership that you probably don't intend. Because when executives look at this, they already know what's wrong with it. And so they aren't thinking that this person worked hard. They're thinking that this person just isn't ready, because it has some big problems that expose the creator as someone who is still operating at the level of information and not decisions. But as I'm about to show you, there is a better way to communicate, one that signals strategic judgment, keeps executives engaged, and gets you taken seriously without adding more slides or work. So now I'm going to show you my system. It's the same one that got my clients results just like this, and there's only 3 steps to it. It's really easy. Let's just start with it. So step 1 is going to boost an executive's confidence that you can lead in seconds because it proves you're already thinking at an executive level. So the first step is to take all of these technical details and the plans and delete them because you're not going to need this. Executives don't care about actions and technical detail. What they care about is intent, risks, and opportunities. And I'll show you how you can actually include them without dumbing down the technical side of things. So you need to translate all of the outcomes into results. So what I've done here on this slide is highlight all of the actions that were mentioned in the slide, and then I've turned them into a result. The easiest way to do this is to take any statement and just ask yourself, why? So why are we going to take this action? Why would the audience care that you took this action? But don't change your slide just yet. Just take all of the outcomes and results and just note them down, right? So step 2 raises your credibility with senior leaders because it shows that you understand the business context and can be trusted to make the right calls. This is the same thing that I use all the time, and it's got me awarded at the executive level, and it's been working really well recently for my clients. So if you've ever had an idea or suggestion that you knew was the right thing, but it gets dismissed, seemingly without any good reason to doing so, then this step is going to solve that. So I was working on this project for a leadership team, and I just couldn't get them to buy into my idea. It didn't matter how many ideas I put forward or how many times I explained the logic behind it, it kept getting pushed back. But at the same time, the pressure to come back with a solution was always there. So I did what most people do. I tried to add more details, I gave deeper explanations, I added more slides, and somehow this made things worse. So next time, I changed my approach. Instead of trying to convince them that I was right with my idea, I focused entirely on why they didn't like the idea. I stripped everything back and only talked about what I thought would actually move the decision forward. And then in that meeting, the conversation just completely changed. They aligned quickly, backed the direction, and suddenly the same idea they have been rejecting was now the right approach. Nothing about the idea itself had changed, just the way it was framed. And that's when I realized that executives don't want more explanation. They want outcomes. And I'll show you how to deliver those using this framework. And it's where a lot of professionals are going wrong. You see, we have friction and false beliefs, and they're the reason an executive uses to reject an idea. Now, the key to understanding this is that a risk doesn't have to actually be real. like in the case of a false belief, or it doesn't have to be something that will actually stop the result from happening, as in the case of friction. They just have to be something that the executive believes will cause the idea to not work. And where most professionals go wrong is they focus on trying to demonstrate that they are right instead of addressing the reasons for rejection. Because if you're able to do that, then this is going to make executives more engaged, and this is going to position you as strategic, which will raise your credibility, and when that happens, you unlock more senior opportunities. So that's exactly what I've done here, which is step 2. It's to think of all the reasons an executive may believe that this idea might fail. And this doesn't have to necessarily mean reasons that it would fail, because this is not a risk assessment. You're jotting down reasons that it could fail, but most importantly, why might they think it's going to fail? And once you've done that, you're ready for the next step. And don't worry if you're struggling to think of all the reasons just yet. I'm going to show you something in this next step that will make it 10 times easier for you. So step 3 is what sends a clear signal that you're operating above your role, not just performing within it. So now we're going to take our slide, and here's the step where we actually rewrite it so it's more persuasive, compelling, and will signal to leaders that you're ready for senior positions. And to do that, we're going to use the SCAR model. So the S stands for safe, which means to make the decision feel low risk. We do that by incorporating into the slides things like familiar structures or proven frameworks and guardrails, so the executives are not going to feel exposed by backing this idea. Now, C stands for credible, which means to show you understand the business, the constraints, and the trade-offs, and not just the idea and the actions. A means to make it actionable. Now, this is where you take the work from step 1, and instead of explaining actions, you explain intent and results. And finally, R. Now, this means rewire false beliefs. So this is where you surface and neutralize those beliefs and that friction that would kill the decision. And you change how the problem is being interpreted before you ask for agreement. So how exactly do you apply this to the slide? Well, it's dead simple. I just paste the slide into this AI tool that I made, and it will rewrite it for me based on exactly this model. It even will coach me through the changes to prompt my thinking in the future, and so I can discuss this slide in person when I get to the room. You can see how it's turned all those previous actions that were written on the slide, and it's rewritten them as the results. It's also suggested some false beliefs and frictions that executives may be thinking of when they assess your idea. And it does this based on the knowledge and experience that I've fed it and trained it on, but it will work even better if you take the work from steps 1 and 2 and feed it in so it knows exactly what your executives are thinking, and it will rewrite your slides to address those specific frictions and false beliefs. And this is genuinely something I use every day when making communications, and you can access it from the link below in the description. But the only thing it won't do is show you how to actually speak at this level, which is why you should watch this video next in order to learn exactly how to do that. So when you do show up at the room, you've got the confidence and ability to discuss this at the level of executives and not just be the person who brought in a nice slide deck.